A 60-year-old Chinese woman has been confirmed as the country's third case of the novel coronavirus or 2019 nCoV, the Department of Health said Wednesday. The Chinese national arrived in Cebu City from Wuhan, China via Hong Kong on January 20. She also went to Bohol, Health Undersecretary Eric Domingo said in a briefing. Domingo said the patient initially tested negative for samples taken on January 24. This was confirmed both by the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine in Muntinlupa City and the Victorian Infectious Disease Reference Laboratory in Australia, he said. However, authorities decided to test the samples that were obtained on January 23, which came out positive. The picture is that the patient was infected but was getting better and negative na siya. She tested negative on the 24th and a week later siya na-discharge, she was discharged, explained Domingo. He said the patient already returned to China on January 31 after it was confirmed that she tested negative for the virus. When the woman arrived in the country, she was already feeling unwell, Domingo said. She stayed in her hotel room and was admitted to the hospital the next day. On the other hand, her companions did not experience any sickness, he added. Remember this, January 20, so medio open pa wala pang ban ing, it was still open, there was no ban on flights anywhere and we had very limited information on the nCoV and it was really tracking patients with fever, so this patient had no fever when she was passing through our airport, the health official said. Finding traces. Domingo said they will only conduct contact tracing on the patient's flight from China going to the Philippines since she no longer had the infection during her trip back home. Airline company Cebu Pacific said it has already reached out to the crew members of the flight the woman boarded going to Cebu. It looks like they are all okay, but we will be verifying that, Cebu Pacific spokesperson Charo Lagaman told CNN Philippines newsroom. As for contacting the passengers, she said the company already left the lists, including that of passengers in the flights of the other two positive 2019 nCoV patients, to DOH and the Bureau of Quarantine. DOH in Region 7 also said it has begun checking the staff of the hotel and hospital where the woman stayed. DOH 7 Regional Director Jamie Bernades said the woman and her 4 companions immediately took a ferry boat at Pier 1 in Cebu City after arriving at the Mactan Cebu International Airport. The boat traveled to Tagbilaran City, Bohol. DOH is also looking for the woman's fellow passengers on the boat, Bernades said. Delayed announcement. Domingo revealed that the DOH learned of the positive test results on Monday evening, but he said they were unable to announce it to the public since they had to attend the Senate hearing the next day. He said there are also some cases in China wherein patients eventually tested negative even after initially testing positive for 2019 nCoV. May eliminate young virus from your body as your immune system mounts the defense against it, so unless it's completely eliminated from your body and it's negative, that's when you can send the patient home, he explained. The couple who arrived in the country 2 weeks ago from Wuhan, the Chinese city at the epicenter of the 2019 nCoV outbreak, are the Philippines' first 2 confirmed cases of infection with the new coronavirus. Domingo said the first case, a 38-year-old Chinese woman, no longer has fever, cough and colds, but recent tests showed she is still infected with 2019 nCoV. Wala na talaga sayang sakit, she was no longer sick, for the past week, no fever, no cough, no colds. However, the latest test that was done at Tong, this last 48 hours was still positive pero, but there were signs not young, the viral load niya bumababa, has gone down, he said. Domingo said they cannot allow her to return to China yet as long as she stays. CNN Philippines, February 6. The World Health Organization, WHO, said that it is wrong to impose a blanket travel ban to and from China amid the outbreak of 2019 novel coronavirus. The statement came after the United Kingdom asked Britons to leave China, where the virus originated. We encourage all countries to make their decisions based on evidence, not just a blanket coverage. Because even in China, there are provinces with very few cases, said WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus in a press briefing at Geneva, Switzerland. The WHO already called on countries not to impose travel ban and trade restrictions over coronavirus, citing that this may only increase the fear and stigma within the international community. Ghebreyesus noted that a large portion of 2019 NCOV cases are only in the Hubei province, the epicenter of the virus. Considering China, as if the problem is the same in all provinces, could be wrong, and it's wrong. For instance, 80% cases in China are from Hubei province. So that blanket approach may not help, he said. There are more than 30 countries which have imposed travel ban in China. The WHO reported that there are 363 confirmed cases in China and 490 deaths. Outside China, there are 191 cases in more than 25 countries. The relatively small number of cases outside China gives us a window of opportunity to prevent this outbreak from becoming a broader global crisis, said Ghebreyesus. Despite strong statements from President Rodrigo Duterte that he wants the Visiting Forces Agreement terminated, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro "Teddy Boy" Locsin Jr. revealed Thursday that he is still awaiting the president's direct order to start the formal process. Under the two-decade military pact between the Philippines and the U.S., the VFA can be terminated via a written notice from either of the countries. Expiration will come 180 days from the time either party notifies the other. I have prepared a notice of termination, but it has not been sent upon the orders of the President, Locsin said in a Senate hearing that tackled resolutions related to the VFA, including calling on Duterte to reconsider his decision to end it pending impact assessment. In his opening statement, Locsin highlighted the benefits the Philippines has been getting from the VFA, military assistance, financial grants, and deterrence against possible attacks from other countries, among others. Explainer: the Visiting Forces Agreement. He said the continuance of the agreement is deemed to be more beneficial for the Philippines, noting that abrogating it may also affect other important deals with the U.S., including the Mutual Defense Treaty (MDT), and the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement (EDCA). The MDT states that each country would come to the defense of the other in case of an attack by a foreign country, while the EDCA, which Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon said was merely an implementation of the VFA, allows the U.S. military to use and control 5 bases in the Philippines. Vigorous review, instead. Despite numerous advantages to keeping the VFA, Locsin said a vigorous review is called for, following American senators' repeated calls for the release of Senator Leila de Lima, an opposition lawmaker detained on drug charges. The Duterte administration sees U.S. Senate resolutions concerning de Lima as an insult to the country's sovereignty, saying she is being tried by the country's independent courts. There is value in revisiting the VFA to address matters of sovereignty such as jurisdiction and custody, and early resumption of clarificatory talks should serve as basis, as well as jump-off point for a review of the VFA, Locsin said. Perhaps, we should review the VFA, certainly we should do that, because I don't believe that because we need them, we should suffer insults to our sovereignty, he added. Locsin said he will insist on negotiating controversial provisions of the VFA during the review, including the lax visa and passport policies for American troops and the authority granted to the U.S. government to retain jurisdiction over military personnel if ever they commit crimes in the Philippines. Locsin, however, clarified that the Department of Foreign Affairs has no formal stance whether it is preferring a termination or a review of the VFA, adding that they have to be briefed first by security and defense officials. The Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs held an executive session after the public hearing to discuss sensitive matters. Threat or order. On January 23, Duterte threatened to scrap the VFA, a drastic response to the U.S. cancellation of Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa's tourist visa. He gave the U.S. government a month to reverse the move. Malacañang later revealed, however, that Duterte already ordered to start the process of terminating the VFA that same night. Locsin said he quickly coordinated with Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana to heed the president's order. Locsin then said they would also discuss the issue with the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, since the VFA is considered by the Philippines as a treaty, requiring Senate concurrence for its passage, while the U.S. treats it as an executive agreement. Whether the Senate needs to concur with the termination of the treaty is still unclear, as the Constitution only says that the upper chamber's nod is needed for a treaty to come into force.